So we'll start by discussing row echelon form and reduced row echelon forms of matrices. This is example 4 in chapter 8.2. And we are given some augmented matrices and asked to verify that each one is in row echelon or reduced row echelon form. So for this first matrix, 1, 0, 0, 5, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 2, -1, 0. We want to verify that it is in row echelon form. So this is the criteria for row echelon form. So the first non-zero entry in a non-zero row should be 1. So let's see. This row is non-zero. Its first entry is a 1. This row is not all zeros, and its first entry is a 1. And this row is all zeros. So yep, we satisfy this criteria. In consecutive non-zero rows, the first entry 1 in the lower row appears to the right of the 1 in the higher row. So we only have 2 consecutive non-zero rows, these 2 rows right here. And so the first entry 1 in the lower row, so here, this is the lower of the 2 rows, and the first one is to the right of the 1 in the higher row. So we satisfy this criteria, and rows consisting of all zeros are at the bottom of the matrix. We only have one row consisting of all zeros. It is at the bottom. So this matrix is in row echelon form. We'll also verify that a matrix is in reduced row echelon form. So reduced row echelon form follows all the criterion for row echelon form, as well as this additional criterion for reduced row echelon form. So let's verify that this matrix is in reduced row echelon form. Duplicate it. 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, -6, 0, 0, 1, -6, 4. So the first criterion, the first non-zero entry in a non-zero row is a 1. So we have 2 non-zero rows, this row, and the first entry in each is 1. So we satisfy the first criteria. In consecutive non-zero rows, the first entry 1 in the lower row appears to the right of the 1 in the higher row. We only have 2 rows again, and neither are 0, so this one does appear to the right of this one, and so we satisfy the second criteria. And rows consisting of all zeros are at the bottom of the matrix. We don't have any rows consisting of all zeros, and so we satisfy this criteria. Now, the fourth criteria for the reduced row echelon form, a column containing a first entry 1 has zeros everywhere else. We have 2 columns whose first entry is 1, the third column and fifth column. So the third column contains a first entry 1, and the only other element is a 0. So this column satisfies that criteria. And for the fifth column, the first entry is a 1, and the other entry is a 0. So it satisfies that criteria. So all columns containing first entry 1 have zeros everywhere else. So we satisfy this criteria, and it is in reduced row echelon form.